Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping right into a really fascinating field note written by an avid gardener and botanical author named Ang. Now, at first glance, this might just look like a simple snapshot of a day out in the dirt, right? But it actually holds a massive mindset shift. We're going to explore that critical moment when you transition from just being a collector of things, in this case plants, to becoming a truly thoughtful curator. It's a whole journey sparked by a completely unexpected discovery in the wild. And honestly, the lessons we can pull from this single field note, they go way, way beyond the garden walls. To really wrap our heads around the depth of this insight, we got to look at exactly where it came from. This specific reflection is pulled directly from Notes on Gardening Part 913. Just think about that number for a second, 913. I mean, that represents a literal mountain of time, observation, trial, error, and meticulous documentation. You'd probably think that after writing down hundreds of different experiences, a gardener might feel like they've kind of seen it all, you know? But what's so beautiful about this particular entry is it proves that the natural world still holds these incredibly unexpected lessons, even for the most seasoned observers.
And this situation just brilliantly illustrates that classic field trip dilemma. You know how it goes. You set out with a very specific goal in mind, but nature just has a totally different agenda. The whole point of Ang's trip was to track down one specific target, the elusive porcupine flower, or barleria-lupulina, if we're being scientific about it. But instead of finding the plant they were actually looking for, Ang stumbled across a completely distinct, totally unidentified new plant species. It's the perfect example of how hyper-focusing on one specific outcome can sometimes lead you to stumble right into an absolute surprise. Now, when you're out looking for one thing and you find another, that new discovery really has to stand out to grab your attention, right? Well, this one absolutely did. Ang noted exactly what made this unidentified species so incredibly unique to look at. It featured these striking yellow spine-like bracts. And then, right in the middle of those kind of aggressive-looking golden spines, there was this delicate tubular white flower just emerging straight from the center. It's this fascinating botanical contrast. You've got this sharp yellow armor protecting a very simple tubular white bloom. You can easily imagine why this literally stopped Ang right in their tracks.
But here's where we get a surprisingly blunt reality check about this rare find. You've just discovered a brand new, unidentified species in the wild. Normally, that collector's instinct is screaming at you to bag it, tag it, and take it straight home. But Ang writes, "As you can probably guess, the lackluster bloom makes me less motivated to pursue this plant." Can you believe that? Despite its absolute uniqueness and those crazy yellow spines, the actual payoff, the white tubular flower itself, just wasn't impressive enough. It was, in Ang's own words, lackluster. And that one single word completely shifts the momentum of this whole field trip from acquisition straight into critical evaluation.
So we really have to ask ourselves, why walk away from a brand new botanical discovery? Why would an avid gardener, someone who's dedicated at least 913 journal entries to this craft, actively choose to just leave a new unidentified plant behind in the dirt? It totally defies the standard logic of a hobbyist, right? Usually when you find something rare, you claim it. But Ang's decision to walk away here isn't born out of laziness or a lack of interest at all. It's actually born out of a really stark realization of reality.
And that reality check hits hard right about now. Ang details the very practical, unavoidable limitations of their physical environment. Honestly, it all comes down to space. Specifically, Ang notes that they're simply running out of overall collection room to add any new plants. But it's not just general space they're missing. It's a very specific, premium type of real estate. They are severely lacking available gardening areas that get full sun. And if you have ever tried to grow anything, you know for a fact that sunlight is the one resource you absolutely cannot fake. You either have the full sun or you don't. Bringing home a plant that needs conditions you simply can't provide is just an exercise in futility.
This is where we really need to talk about the concept of microclimates, because Ang realizes that forcing a plant into the wrong environmental pocket is just a guaranteed recipe for failure. A microclimate isn't about the general weather in your city. It's about the very specific, localized climate conditions within a tiny, distinct area of your own garden space. We're talking the exact temperature, the humidity, and yes, that all-important full sun. A plant absolutely must perfectly match that microclimate if it's going to actually thrive rather than just merely survive. Ang recognized that without the right microclimate waiting back home, taking this plant from the wild would just be doing it a massive disservice.
So by combining the disappointment of that lackluster bloom with the hard, undeniable truth of microclimates, Eng develops this fantastic, strict curation checklist. This is the exact moment we see the transition from a plant collector into a mindful plant curator. Let's walk through these 3 criteria. Number 1. Any new plant must actually suit the available gardening area, so no more forcing things into crowded little corners. Number 2, it must match the specific microclimate. If it needs full sun, you better have full sun ready to go. And number 3, it must fit your personal gardening style. If the bloom is lackluster and doesn't bring you joy or fit your vibe, just leave it. This checklist is such a powerful tool for filtering out the noise and focusing only on what truly matters.
I just love this quote because it perfectly captures the overarching philosophy of this entire explainer. While we don't need to get every single one of them, it's nice to know about them and only get a few. That is such a profound statement about how we interact with the things we're passionate about. Appreciation does not always have to equal possession. You can spot a brand new plant with a golden spine, admire it, document its tubular white flower, write field note number 913 about it, and then simply walk away. You can know all about the world's wonders without feeling this overwhelming burden to hoard them all in your own backyard.
Now, does this philosophy dampen the spirit of exploration? Absolutely not. If anything, it actively enhances it. Looking ahead to June of 2026 and beyond, Eng remains incredibly optimistic about future field trips. They specifically note the ideal conditions for the next hunt: sunny days without major downpours. As long as that great weather holds out, Eng fully expects to make and post about many more new plant species discoveries soon. But the big difference now is the intention behind it. The future hunts aren't going to be about grabbing everything in sight. They'll be about the pure joy of observation, armed with that strict, thoughtful curator's checklist.
Ultimately, this field note leaves us with a really powerful reflection. Whether you are managing actual plants in a physical backyard, juggling your hobbies, or just trying to organize your own daily life, I want you to ask yourself, in your own garden, literal or metaphorical, do you know when to walk away? Just consider how evaluating your true capacity might completely free you from the exhausting burden of trying to collect everything. If you started curating your life instead of just collecting it, what else might you finally have the space to discover next?